Hey everybody, how's it going? Mike from the Focus Garage coming at you here, and in today's video we're going to be doing our 1,000-mile update on our 2024 Ranger Raptor. Now, I just took delivery of this vehicle about 2 to 3 weeks ago, and one of the first things I wanted to do before I really, got into the vehicle much, whether that's, tuning it or ripping on it or anything like that, I wanted to do a proper break-in. So I did my 1,000 miles and, basically some of the common sense items that I did with it is I varied the RPMs a good amount. I didn't keep, cruising in 10th gear, just like a solid RPM the whole time. Various throttle loads and things like that. And just no extended, like wide open throttle or redline pulls or anything like that for those first 1,000 miles or so. So I did that, kind of broke it in for the first 1,000 miles or so there. And then I was going to change the oil right around 1,000 miles, but I'm still waiting on an oil filter in the mail. So what I ended up doing today is I did a 60-mile kind of off-road gravel dirt rock trail loop with it, and I'll throw kind of a video clip in a second here. And I did... And I did some just off-roading with it and really kind of letting it eat. I had this thing in two-wheel drive mode pretty much the whole time, playing with different suspension settings and steering settings, exhaust settings, and things like that. And I mean, there was no snow or anything like that, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, you can kick the rear end out on this thing so easily. You can maintain speed. The suspension is insane the way that it soaks up bumps, and it is just immensely impressive. Like, I don't know, 1,200 miles or so into this truck ownership now, and I cannot believe just how well it works. So I've got the oil filter coming in the mail. I've got the oil. So I'm going to go ahead probably in the next couple days here, as soon as I have everything I need, change the oil on this truck. It looks pretty easy to do yourself. You got 4 bolts for the skid plate. The drain plug is actually just a finger, quarter turn thing. So you've got that, and then the oil filter is actually top mounted there. So I'll do my break-in oil change. I might send some off to Blackstone to kind of get a oil analysis there on it, and then we'll let it rip. I do have the Ford Performance Tune ready to go. Whether or not I'm going to go have that installed at a dealer or flash that myself at home, I'm not entirely sure yet. I'll probably shop a couple of dealerships to see what I get quoted at as far as like pricing goes for, I don't know, however many hours people charge for it. I've seen kind of rates all over the place. I've seen people that end up paying an hour of labor. I've seen people pay 4 hours of labor. It kind of seems the sweet spot with that is that you want to kind of load the tune and register it yourself beforehand, create that Ford Performance account, and then when you go to flash it to the vehicle, it's a pretty simple process. So maybe I'll even shop around private, just ASE mechanics. As long as they're ASE certified, you maintain that warranty portion of it. If you don't, you flash it yourself, you run the risk of that warranty being void. So it's kind of up to you, make your own choice. It is a whole, controversial thing with the warranty where, is Ford really going to give you a hard time if a Ford tech didn't flash it? If you have issues with the truck, do you want to risk it? I mean, it's an expensive vehicle. It's hard, right? So regardless, I'm going to do that oil change. I'm going to flash that Ford Performance Tune, and I am so excited to see what this vehicle feels like with another 50 horsepower and over 100 foot-pounds of torque. I mean, today was really my first day of ripping on this thing, and I did a lot of, full throttle pulls. I did some playing around with launching it in 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive, and it's crazy impressive. So through some of the Facebook groups and the forums, I've seen a lot of people describe this vehicle as feeling like a giant side-by-side. And let me tell you, that is so true. This vehicle literally feels and drives like it is just a giant side-by-side, right? If you've ever driven like an off-road vehicle, like some of those, I think Can-Am or Polaris makes some, that's a really, really big brand in side-by-side. This feels very, very similar to to one of those. The way you load up the suspension, you load up the steering, you kind of just send it through corners. It's very, very familiar feeling, and it does not feel like some boring, cumbersome rock crawler or something like that. Like, to get it out there and do some high-speed stuff it feels at home, right? So I'm very excited once the weather gets a little bit nicer to be able to go and do some sand dunes. I'm looking at going to the Michigan sand dunes to get this vehicle out there and try some of that. But these factory KO3s worked very, very well out there. They do hold a ton of gravel though. So Next time I'm out there, I am going to film myself doing that loop. I didn't this time because it was my first time checking out that loop. I wasn't sure how aggressively I was going to drive the truck. I wasn't sure kind of what the road conditions are going to be like. Is it something that, I'll have the flexibility of setting up cameras? Is it going to be, pain? So I'll do that next time. It was a really, really good loop, and I found out about it through a local Facebook group. So that was pretty neat. I was able to check it out there, and it was pretty fun. So I definitely recommend, join some local Facebook groups, whatever area that you're in, and look for like overlanding or off-roading or something like that, because all of this was public road, right? Like, obviously, this isn't rock crawling. You're not doing any kind of like intense off-roading or anything like that, but it is still a good way to kind of get out there and learn the vehicle and just feel a little bit more of what the vehicle was designed to do, right? Like, obviously, for the break-in, this vehicle was being driven relatively, soft, not hard or anything like that, and not really on any kind of difficult terrain or different terrain. So to be able to throw it around in some dirt, throw it around some mud was a whole lot of fun. And I've never been more conflicted in my life of like my vehicle, I guess OCD you'd want to call it. A lot of vehicles in the past, I'm, ceramic coating them, paint correcting them, washing them all the time, every chance I get. And while I want to do that with this because it's a new vehicle, it's a nice vehicle, I also want to frickin' send it through mud, send it through dirt, send it through sand, and like treat it like a, Baja truck vehicle that it is. So it's like, as much as I want to bomb it through a puddle, I also want to wash it off right afterwards. So it's so funny to just kind of have that back and forth with it where, I want to enjoy the car the way it was meant to be enjoyed, but at the same time, I also don't want to like destroy this brand new thing to me. So going down all those gravel roads today kind of helped like take the Band-Aid off, so to speak, rip the Band-Aid off rather, because as soon as you get on some of these roads, especially with the looser packed gravel, it is ding, 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 flying down the side, and like it's in the wheel wells, it's hitting the rock steps and everything like that, or the side steps on the truck, and you just got to hope that it's not really like hitting the bed sides or the fenders or anything like that. But if you drive the vehicle on the road, stuff's going to happen, right? You're going to get rock chips, you're going to get hit with salt, road debris, anything like that. There's only so much you could do to avoid that, but that was something that I was kind of doing, just going through mentally with it. Like, I wanted to undercoat this vehicle with like a fluid film or an AMSOIL before I had driven it in like the salt in the winter, but literally the day of me bringing it home, it was snowy and the roads were salted and everything like that. So it's like, it's a losing battle, right? So once spring is here, we'll wash it down underneath real well, and we'll apply some film to it, like a fluid film or something like that, and really clean it up and make sure it's good. I can't imagine that it's going to cause like irreparable rusting in, 3 months of winter usage. So not too worried about it. We'll take care of it when, the season comes. But as far as other things that I'm looking to do with this vehicle or anything like that, so we've got the oil change coming. That's going to be in a future video probably. We've got the Ford Performance Tune coming. That's going to be very, very soon. I'd love to find a front leveling kit that levels out the lift of the front of the vehicle with the back of the vehicle. That doesn't mess with the suspension. So from what I'm seeing on forums and everything like that is if you do one of those front leveling kits, it makes a tendency for the front suspension to ride stiffer and harsher and kind of upset the ride of the car. But then some people are saying you can get the suspension recalibrated to work for that, but I'm not really seeing like successful results in people having done that. So if you guys know of a front suspension, leveling kit, like a collar or perch system or something like that, where it levels out the front suspension with the rear suspension, where it's been good results, like either someone that's done it or you've done it yourself, where it still rides well and retains kind of that cushy, really, really nice Raptor suspension, let me know, because I'd love to just kind of level out the front of the truck with the rear of the truck. It doesn't look that bad in pictures, but then when I look at it in videos or I see it in person sometimes, it looks really, really like, raked. So to level it out would be cool. And then on top of doing that, I do want to end up doing some different wheels on the truck. But the problem is, obviously having like knobby all-terrain tires, you're going to run the risk of, destroying the sides of the truck, especially if you took off the side steps. So finding the right spec with offset, in regards to offset is very, very important. So I'd love some kind of like bronze racing wheels or something like that. But we'll see what's out there. We'll see kind of what other people are running. I'd like to retain the factory size tire. I don't want to go to 35s because I don't want to be removing pieces of metal from the front fenders the way some people do. And I also don't want to deal with, clearance issues when I'm steering or rubbing or anything like that. The fact that this truck rides the way it does on stock 33s with this height and everything like that it's so good, right? I don't want to mess that up a lot. So if I can get wheels that are like a little bit lighter weight that look a lot better than these factory wheels, then I'm all for it. That's part of the reason I didn't go with the OEM beadlock capable wheels, is because whether I got the beadlock ones or I got these, I planned on replacing them and doing something kind of to my own taste. I think, a blue vehicle with bronze wheels would look really, really good. And that's kind of the route that I'm wanting to go with it there. But I don't want something that pokes out, way farther than the fenders. I don't want something that looks like a Brodozer that's on 20s or 22s or something like that. I want to keep, the rolling diameter the same so that way my speedometer works properly. The hunt for wheels will probably be a long one, but it is something that I want to do with this vehicle. It is tempting to do downpipes and things like that and go like an aftermarket tuner, but I don't know. We'll see. We're going to run this Ford Performance Tune for 6 months, a year, see kind of where it stands. Maybe I'll do it for intercooler. I've been monitoring the factory gauges in the vehicle here, and charge air temps do get toasty even when it's pretty cold outside. So you can tell it either heat soaks or just doesn't do a very, very efficient job on cooling the air that's going into it. So that's something to look at. That's something to consider as I own the vehicle. But how it's held up and everything like that, initial quality impressions are phenomenal. So I had the Maverick. There were some squeaks and rattles with it. Obviously, way, way cheaper interior, different type of vehicle. I understand that. And I've owned a few new Fords before as well. I'm very, very impressed with this. What I kind of dig about this truck, and the Topher mentioned it in his video, it has like a European Ford flair to it. It's a lot different than American Fords if you've been in them, even with like the shape of the steering wheel, kind of like the textures and the materials. And I'm very, very pleased. I mean, you get like soft touch materials everywhere. It's been very, very cold out where I've been owning and driving this vehicle, and I don't get like squeaks and rattles and weird noises like that. Infotainment's been flawless with me. Gauge cluster's been flawless with me. Everything just kind of seems to work the way it's supposed to when it's supposed to. I believe I am on the most recent software update for the infotainment and everything like that. I love having a remote start on my key fob again versus having to use the app. So all I have to do is just see the truck and do that. It's a lot quicker and simpler as long as you have, visual eyes on the truck versus using the app and waiting and everything like that. Home link in the visor again, super, super nice thing. But initial impressions, I'm loving this truck. The range is annoying. It's not even the gas mileage that's annoying. I mean, I knew buying this that I was going to get 15 to 17 miles per gallon. If that bothers you, don't buy one of these, right? That's about it with that. But it's a smaller gas tank, and when full, you're only getting 300 to like 350 miles of range. So the fact that this doesn't come with an optional larger gas tank, or there's not even like a choice to have that, it's kind of interesting to me. I wonder if it was like weight regulation things, or I don't know. The F-150 gets a optional larger tank if you want. Ranger doesn't. So the Ranger Raptor with its gas tank and the gas mileage that you get, you're needing to fill up every 300 or so miles. And while that's normal for some vehicles, if you've come from something where you have 400 or 500 miles of range, it becomes a little bit of a nuisance to always have to like look at your fuel gauge and think that, oh man, I'm below half a tank, I need like gas immediately. So you find yourself filling up more than you would imagine, but it is what it is, right? Like you didn't buy this because you care about gas. I threw a tonneau cover on it. I'll cover that in a future video. I went with the Truxedo low profile one, but I went through Ford because I had Ford pass points that I wanted to redeem on that. Installation was pretty good. It was really nice because it was highly adjustable to get it exactly where you want it. So that way, it's flush with the rails, it's good with the tailgate, pretty weather tight and everything like that. So installing that tonneau cover, very good, very happy with that. I got my cargo net in the bed and everything, so that's pretty set up. We've got window tint on it now, so it's coming along, right? So I just wanted to kind of get this update video out there now that I've had the vehicle coming on close to a month now. I've got my 1,000 miles done. I'm about to do the break-in, and we're about to tune this thing. So it's been great. Really, really, really enjoying this. And if you've been on the fence about one, or reviews have sold you on it or anything like that, don't hesitate. Try and find one out there at MSRP. You can even find 2024s now below sticker. So if you're looking for one, definitely maybe don't be afraid to travel or look around a little bit. But they're out there, and I definitely can't recommend this enough. The sizing is perfect. It still fits in my garage. Barely, but it fits in the garage still. So that's another point. Had some camera difficulties there. Looks like I lost the last minute or so of that clip, but I'm just going to close this one out here before I start rambling in what was the rest of that video there. So I just wanted to, give you guys that 1,000-mile update on how the Raptor's been for me so far, kind of the plans that we're going to be doing with it moving forwards, and just close that one out from there. So thanks for checking this video out. Definitely drop your thoughts down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.